Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I have another instrument cluster test and possibly repair. This is coming from actually Arizona. Manuel, this is your instrument cluster. He's actually doing some work here in Virginia, and he had the problem starting to happen on his cluster. So he contacted me, and I met him actually. He dropped the cluster here, so we're going to do a test. So his concern is, he says, when he's driving, right in the speedometer side, that the LEDs start to become very dim, and sometimes it's just like off and only on that side. So we're gonna try to reproduce the concern, because I told him that if it works and it doesn't work, sometimes it could be the LEDs, but it could be the actual, let's say, driver of IC that controls the LEDs. I will definitely open up the cluster and check every circuit that is involved in it, but I need to reproduce the concern so I can prove when the repairs are done that everything is good, and also for myself, right? Because if everything works well, then what am I fixing, right? So I need to reproduce to find out what is bad, right? Because if it's all good, then what is the problem? And that is what we need to do, especially when you have intermittents. If it's something that is definitely dead, no light up, and then easy, it's off, right? So it should work. So I have it in the cluster, in my bench. I actually got this base out of Amazon, and it's working really well. I have used that for the simulator, for other things, and it's actually working really good. So I'm very happy with that. So let me move you over to this capture. So right now I have it connected to the scanner, and everything is talking good. I dimmed the lights on, so we will start from 0 and then go from there. But before we do that, let me just show you the wire diagrams, as I normally do, in connections that are involved in order to connect to this cluster. It's actually pretty simple. So I'm going to start in order. Let me show you the connector. So this is the connector behind the cluster. It's a 26-pin connector, one connector only. And as you will see, it's pretty simple. I only need 4 wires in here to work. Pin 1, a constant battery positive. Pin 2, an ignition. Pin 3 is the low speed GM LAN serial data that goes over to the DLC pin 1. And I'm going to show you that also on the diagram. And then pin 5, which is a ground. If we scroll down to the rest of the pins, we can see that everything else is like a brake fluid level sensor, middle control, DIC signal, DIC switch low reference, or low washer fluid control. So nothing that I really need for the concern he has, right? So low passenger seat belt indicator, airbag indicator. So nothing else. All the signals for this cluster are actually coming from the bus. So our share from the computer for oil pressure, temperature, and all that is a message on the bus. So it's nothing I can really reproduce here, but with that, we do have a bidirectional control. Thank you, Cadillac, for doing that. So in here, I have the wire diagram where it shows powers, grounds, and so on. Let me get this so we can discuss that. So very important when you're working on this, because this cluster, the one he has, is a C75. So your PR or RPO codes should be on the glove box, and then you need to understand which one are you working. Is a X88, a C88, or a C75. This is the C75. And that is also in here. So we can see this pin is ground, and it could be pin 13 or pin 5. So looking at the connector that I just showed you, we know it's 5, and this is C75. And I can show you, well, not really important. You can just take my word. The connector for the C75 is completely different than the other connectors. So there's no way for you to really miss it, because this is the only one that has 26 pins. So we have ground in there. We can see voltage ignition. A battery voltage on pin 1. This says in here the GM LAN on pins 3 for the C75, and then an ignition on pin 2 for the C75. So everything is matching exactly as we saw before. Yep, nothing else, because this is just the driver information center, the IC switch, right? So those are for if you need to dim the lights in the vehicle. That's what you will be testing. I don't need to do that because I can actually command that to happen with the scanner. Luckily, otherwise I would have to get this switch and do the test properly, because as you see inside this switch is different resistors, and nicely done by Cadillac GM Corporation, right? That they give you the different resistors, right? Because one signal will have 510 ohms, 510 ohms, and the other one 1 kilo ohm. This one looks like it's just a ground, which not sure how that will dim, because it says, oh no, it goes over to interior lights dimming schematic. So this is more intricate than what we see here. So we will have to go over to those schematics in order to see that. All right, so going into this is the LAN, the lowest speed LAN bus, because I need to make sure where I need to connect. So we have the instrument cluster. Let me just find it out right here. Instrument cluster, again, the C75 is pin 3. It will go over to this splice bar, right? This is a splice pack where you can do tests in case you're losing communication into any of those components in here. But if we follow that, it goes up into this wire. This is the DLC connector in here into pin 1. That is all I really need to know. Now I know where I need to plug that wire into my DLC box or bar that I have here, because I have created this bar here. So right next to the cluster, let me get something to point. In the back, right there, that orange thing is a bar that I have created. So I have powers, grounds, and all the DLC pins. So I can quickly pin by pin, put my wires in there when I have a cluster that I don't work normally. When I do have those that I will normally work, I have created also this harness in here. And it's a 25B connector that I just plug in there, so I don't have to go pin by pin. But it's really not really a time-consuming situation, even when I have to do it by pin, especially when it's only 4 wires, right? Like this is actually really quickly. All right, let me put the SUS. Like I said, it's already connected, so let me get it into my screen. I can do it manually, but I think for the sake of the video, it's easier if I do it this way. So we're going to start by going up. You can see the lights coming up and coming up. I'm 80% and then 100%. So I'm going to leave it in the 100% to see if anything changes, because realistically, I would not perform any repairs, and it will be just a test if I cannot reproduce the concerns. Why? Because this is something that he is experiencing intermittently. If it will be again a dead sector on the cluster, then I can open it up and start repairing something. But if this does not happen here, he might have a signal that is coming into the cluster, right, and not happening. So the test you can do, Manuel, if I cannot reproduce your concern in here, will be to connect the scanner like the one I have here and do the test for the dimming. And then like that you will be removing the dimming switch and dimming portion of the vehicle from the equation, because it might not be a cluster bed. I told him, it's like, well, because he told me it was very specifically in one area, which led me to believe that it is indeed the cluster. And this is not a very uncommon situation on these Escalades to happen. But I need to reproduce it. I cannot just do a repair based on what, right? So let's open it up and hope that I can find something falling out or bad. If it's working good, how can it be bad? I need to again have something happening in order to fix it. And it's been going like this. So yeah, you cannot see the time right now. It's 10:46. So I'm going to move you over to the display, my display in the lower corner right here where I'm hovering right now. You can see that it's 10:46 a.m. I'm going to wait here with this light on, and I'm going to start doing what I normally do. These are vibrations, and it will happen like these that I'm doing right now is probably the car is in an accident right now. It will never shake this much, but I'm trying to reproduce, you know, vibrations or something that can cut something like this. And as you can see, it's not happening. So it's not about vibrations. So something like I said, it might be an input, a bus signal that is not coming properly, or the switch, the dimming switch that is you know, going bad and is sending a signal to dim when it's not supposed to happen. And I that's what I'm trying to reproduce in here. So let's 10:47 now. So let me stop the video. I'm going to come back in 10 minutes unless I immediately catch it. You know, if it happens, I will start the video right away. Okay. Yeah, well, no, it's been 10 minutes. I have hit it, move it, let it, you know, because the same cluster by now is actually heating up by itself, right? All the lights are fully on, and it has not happened one time. So I'm going to add some information in here for you, Manuel, and for anyone that has these issues, because this is a very common issue in this cluster. And sometimes it's a cluster, sometimes it's a communication issue or something else in the car that needs to be addressed. So I have put together kind of like a list of recommendation that I'm going to share with you. In the meantime, I'm going to keep the cluster on, and if it happens to flicker, I will immediately move into that. I can actually, let me think 1 second. I can probably do that and keep it on the one screen. Let me try to do that like that. We can see that image onto the corner of your screen. I'm going to make it smaller. Oh, that's not the one I need to do. So give me 1 second, guys. That was the SUS. Let me see. Sorry, I'm doing that, but I'm trying to show you the best possible. I'm going to make that image just very small so we can keep an eye on it. In the meantime, we're reading what I'm about to show you, right? So that is something that I need to keep in there, because I'm going to move the video over to the screen so I can show you the information that that I put together. Yeah, so you can see that in there. All right, so first, you already saw the wire diagrams and everything. This is for him and for you guys. So this is the cluster. That is the part number. Let me just actually flip this around so you can read, and we can read the part number properly. This is, again, the cluster when it's a C75. And I'm going to show you the next picture. That is the connector, and we can see which is 26-pin connector, very unique to this cluster. So yeah, the lights has not flickered not even one time. So that is the cluster front. I always take a picture so in case anything is cracked or broken or so, I can, keep an image of that. But it looks clean, just a little, good. It's just a little dirty, but nothing abnormal. All right, so these are the recommendations. So I'm going to keep this in the screen. Yeah, I'm not in the way so you guys can see that. I'm going to read it so we can all have that information. So an intermittent flickering or a failure on a 2007 Cadillac Escalade instrument cluster lights, often accompanied by a gauge issues. And this is where it's not his case, because he has no gauge issues. Can be caused by electrical or grounding problems. A faulty cluster or interference from motor modules. Troubleshooting involves checking battery and ground connections, inspecting fuses and wiring, and potentially diagnosing the battery control module. And that is very important because, yes, it is involved in here. A more detailed breakdown, electrical and ground issues. And this is information that I have put together for you. Battery and grounds. Start by inspecting the battery terminals and chassis ground connections for corrosion of looseness, fuses and wiring. Check the instrument cluster fuse, and I show that in the wire diagram, and it's correct. That's off fuse 46. It could be there, and it could be loose. It could be heating up, and that creating an issue, and that will stop the communication and create that flickering or the lights not working. So very important to check that. And the related wiring harnesses for damage or loose connections. So I already explained that. Ground connections ensure good grounding, as intermittent power loss can cause erratic gauge behavior. That will accompany also with a needle jumping, I'm going to have to contact Manuel to see if he has anything like that. Yeah, I put a more in there about the grounds internal faults. There is no faults, at least here, and I'm going to show you that in a second as well. The instrument cluster might have internal problems like a faulty component, bad solder joints, or a failing circuit board. Connected issues, I don't have that in here, right? Damage or corroded connectors, not at all. Software issues, yeah, that's the second part that could cause something like that. And as these are programmable clusters, so if I don't see anything or I cannot reproduce a concern, it will be very irresponsible from my part to start opening a cluster without being able to reproduce a concern, because if it doesn't happen, that is not. Sometimes a software glitch or a module reset can resolve the problem, and that is by disconnecting it from the battery for 15 minutes. That could happen, and the cluster was dropped here yesterday night, and now it's the next day, so more than 15 minutes, right? Body control interference. This is where I want to address a little more, because, and I'm going to show you in there the communication and how the dimming of the lights is actually coming from the J box and junction box and the BCM itself. Please read this information, Manuel, and all you that have these issues, right? The instrument cluster and the BCM communicate, and a problem with the BCM can affect the cluster's operation. BCM diagnostics, check for a BCM error, and I don't have that in here. Using a diagnostics, like I would recommend to use the Snap-on. This is probably the best tool you can use for this cluster, or I'll tell, right? Check for errors, interference, or malfunction modules on the vehicle network can interfere with the instrument cluster. Disconnecting the other modules one by one can help isolate a problem, but that is only when it's happening, right? So very important, because if it's not happening, you can disconnect everything. What are you looking for? You don't know. Repairs, specialized repair services like My Salazar Diagnostics can diagnose and fix many instrument clusters. You might need to replace the entire cluster itself. So that is what we're here for. So let's just read the rest, and I reiterate about that fuse 46, because I have seen many problems, and it's usually that fuse that gets hot and it starts to give that weird erratic behavior, but it's accompanied by gauges. And I'm going to have to talk with Manuel more about that. So I think that's good enough. I can remove that from here, and I'm going to put the SUS back in the screen. I'm going to get out, because in order to check the faults, we need to. Why is not letting me going into the scanner? Okay, finally. So I'm gonna have to exit, and when I do that, let me see if the lights stays or not. Yeah, it looks like they're stay completely light up. Perfect. Okay, so let me go over to display codes. Current codes, there is no fault codes. Let's go over to history codes, and there is no fault code. So I got nothing to go by to help him, because everything is working properly. So this is, again, a little difficult. I have tried. Now it's 11:04, so we're talking about almost 20 minutes. 11:05. Let's go over to the sweep test, because we have not done the sweep test to see if that might trigger the issue, right? So we're trying to make it happen. I didn't see anything. Custom on, off. Okay, finally it's doing it. Okay. Yes, you can see now the needles in there. I'm going to keep an eye on the iPad as well. But you can see no light, no change on the lights. So let's do it one more time. I'm going to do on and off one more time. And you can see the needles are nice and smooth. The blue light on the needles, because this is a very different LED in there that reflects into that color, are all working good. So nothing that I can really think of. All right, so let's go back and do a lamp test, because that will be the rest of the lamps. Try to see if we can force this to happen right now. We have everything on. and nothing happens. So I'm going to create vibrations again. Just that is the test timeout. It's not going to stay forever, but you can see that the lights are not in any way going dim. So this is definitely, for me, this is a problem, Manuel. It's not here. So I'm going to go back into the diagrams 1 second with you. Right now, I am into the dimming of the instrument cluster, and you can see that the dim, when I enter in there, goes to 0. I don't need, again, the switch, and that was what I was explaining. So let's go slowly in increments of 20% each time to see if we see anything different, but it looks like it's not. And I tried this multiple times before, doing the video for you guys to see if I could make it reproduce or try to reproduce his concern, because, I'm trying to force if it's anything wrong here to happen. And it's not happening, not even one time. And I hope that you see that. So let me take you over to the wire diagrams. I'm going to, let me see, make sure I got all the diagrams in here. This is powers and grounds, and this is the communication, yeah. I don't have the one in the dimming. That's very important. Gauges, pins, LED dimming. I only have one for the dimming, but I'm going to show you that either way. So let me get the SUS out of the way. And let me put that one in the corner again, because we're going to keep an eye on that. So the dimming of the instrument cluster will happen through a bus. You can see that it's actually coming. If we see here, let me get something to, so you guys can see me where I am, because I don't know why PDF are this weird. It changed the mouse, so you cannot see it. So this is the body control module. This is the GM low speed. Again, the instrument cluster is right here, and we can see this. This is a symbol for an LED. It's like a diode with two lightning or something like that. Let me make it a little bigger so you guys can see it. Right now, I'm going to move that back so you can see better that icon. But yeah, you can see how it's directly telling you that there is no direct wire to control that as a message. And that's why I'm leaning into either a problem with the BCM, because even though this shows the BCM and the J box, the JB box in here, anything that is connected to that bus that I show you here, right? So this will be this one. Anything that is connected to this bus, it could affect the communication, and it could create an erratic behavior on the cluster. It will be accompanied with something else, but again, I'm trying to just give ideas to anyone that has these problems and try to perform the correct tests. Yeah, in the dimming, the junction box has the LED dimming bus. You see dimming bus right here, multifunction accessory switch. So the switches are connected directly to the J box, junction box. And then this is on the left side of the instrument panel. And then that will be communicating wise controlled by the BCM and then sent to the instrument cluster. That's how that works. But yeah, so Manuel, I'm sorry, but it's nothing I will recommend to do to this instrument cluster. I cannot replace bulbs that are good. Which ones should I replace? What do I solder? I can waste time in here and it will be no change. And I will have to charge for that, because if I open it and I start replacing LEDs and if at the end, if that is what Manuel wants me to do, I can do it, and that will have a price. But it is definitely not my recommendation. All right, guys, I hope that you like the content. I try always to show as much as information as possible, to not just show you a cluster connected in here, also to tell you how can you perform a diagnosis or try to find the problems when you have it. All right. Okay, guys, if you have any instrument clusters or computers and you need sent to repair, please just visit my website, MikeSalazarDiagnostics.com. I can show you that in a second if you don't mind. This is my website, Mike Salazar Diagnostics. Yeah, my name is spelled a little different, but it sounds like a regular Mike. In here, you have those in the center bottom of the screen. You have the letters with the name of the website, and then two boxes you can click on. The white one, if you click in there, is the repair form that you need to fill, sign, and add in the box with the module or modules. And the other one, the black one, is to send me an email. If you click in there, that will open your email browser, and then you can start a conversation with me through emails. I also have my telephone and an email on the upper left corner of the screen, so you can, on the website, you can use that as well. And if you're here in the channel, please don't forget to subscribe. That helps my small business a lot. Every time you subscribe, YouTube promotes my videos more and more, and that's how you got here. So if you do, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. All right, guys. See you next time. Bye-bye.